Hi and welcome back to Garden Ninja. Now today's video guide is going to show you how you can create your own super modern water feature even in a small urban garden. So come on, let's get cracking. If you've not already subscribed to my YouTube channel, hit the red button to subscribe today. Also click the bell for notifications. We'll have access to hundreds of garden design hints, tips and hacks from me, the Garden Ninja. And best of all, it's free. So this guide is going to show you how you can create your own modern water feature. And I'm going to show you how to build a raised rill. And a rill is just a body of water, usually rectangular, that is placed in a garden or dissects part of a garden border to create a really modern water feature. And they're great if you want to add interest to a small urban garden. This guide's going to show you how I'm going to do it here at Garden Ninja HQ, and then you can replicate it at home. So first things first, let's start building the base for the rill. So whenever you're doing any building work that involves a large quantity of water, it's important to get all of your measurements correct and make sure that whatever you're building can contain that water. Now I've had the landscapers in, we've worked out the volume, the dimension, the weight, and this is going to be perfectly sufficient, if not a bit more, to hold that water. So the block's going up, which will form the exterior skeleton of the rill before it is then lined and rendered. So my build team have finished rendering the rill, and Barry's very excited, as you can see. Hello. Now I've chosen granite grey in this cave end, which marries up with the beautiful granite paving that I've got all around here. And that's really important. And the reason why I've done that is to make this look like it's been pulled out of the earth, which mirrors up with the raised bed and makes it blend in. I could have chosen a number of different colours, maybe grey like the windows or a buff colour, but I think it would have stood out for all the wrong reasons. So it's always worthwhile considering the colour and choice of materials to help things blend in, because I want the water and the look of this to stand out rather than the colour and the shape. If you've got a large body of water that doesn't move, it's going to turn stagnant. You'll end up with algae, it'll turn green, potentially go a bit stinky. It's not what you want. So most ponds, in fact nearly all of them, should have some form of water movement with a pump and filtration to help break down any waste that gets in there and keep it crystal clear. So this cable is going to power the pumps and filtration. At the moment it's dead, there's no connection to the house, and there's a plug out here with a timer once again which is dead. So I've lifted this out ready to put the liner on, and then it can go back in, wire up the pumps and be hidden. Now the next step in this project is to fit the liner and get the water in. But before I get carried away, it's important to make sure that you protect the liner. So before I fit it, I'm going to put a ½ inch of sand at the bottom of this rill to protect the base of it against the concrete block and any little bits of the render or concrete that could puncture the liner. I'm then going to fit some pond fleece, which may sound overkill, but believe me, it's worth it. And that will again just help protect the sides and the base. And that fleece is going to make sure that when the liner goes in, it's fully protected and you're not going to end up with any pesky leaks. So as I said before, we're only needing to put maybe ½ inch, maybe only a centimetre really, of sand on the bottom, level it all out, and that's just to protect the bottom of the liner. That's going to be where a huge amount of force is going to be placed, is the bottom and then the sides. So this protects the bottom, and then the fleece will protect both the bottom and the sides. It doesn't have to be any special sand, this is just bog standard builder sand. Great if you've got it left over from other landscaping projects. You may even be able to find, quarter-ton bags in your area on like Facebook Marketplace or Gumtree. So try and recycle if you can. Now when it comes to lining ponds, you've got a number of options, but one of the best and easiest is a flexible butyl rubber liner. Now you can buy it in two different forms. You can buy it by the metre as big squares or rectangles that you then fit in to whatever shape and neaten all the corners or the edges. Or if you want to be super slick like me and you're working with a geometric or straight edge shape, you can buy your pond liner that's been custom built to slot in. And the benefit of that is that you get really crisp, neat corners rather than all those folds from the one piece of rubber that you're trying to squeeze in. So this pond liner came in at about £350. I probably could have got the same in a loose liner for about £80 to £90, but I want this to look really neat because as we're looking out from the house, it needs to look spot on. And also, it saves a lot of time. So if you've got the funds, be a bit lazy. Now it's time to fit the fleece, and I often find the fleece is kind of the hardest thing to do, especially if you've got a pre-formed pond liner, because that's already in shape, whereas this is a bit unwieldy. Now the best way to fit fleece is to lay it over the top of whatever shaped pond you've designed or water feature, and then you pull it taut whilst also pushing it down into the pond. You want to get rid of as many ripples as you can, keeping it as tidy as possible. When it comes to the corners, unlike the pond liner, you can actually cut down the corners to make them fit neatly because it doesn't have to be completely sealed. And you will see it start to come to life. Like we can see the bottom, we can see the sides. You know, there's very little folds, it's nice and neat. So we just want to work our way down, making sure it's in the corners, because if you don't, this tends to pull over and leave a flap. So we want that just over the top, in both of the bottom corners, nice and flush in there. We just work our way down. Now this is the really exciting part. I've unrolled this custom liner and it fits like a glove. And it's really satisfying when it pops in and you've not got to faff about with all these corners. So it's going to look super sharp. But before we do anything else, I need to fill it probably about a third with water just to start pulling in all of these corners. And as it starts to fill, I can stretch it a little bit to make sure that it's super neat. And after that, it's time to put in the pond pumps. So the pond is just over half full now. I've been working my way around, pulling out all of the ripples. At the same time, I've had my electrician nip round and wire in my pumps. Now, I've chosen these 3 separate pumps along the rill. Now I'm using these foaming geyser heads here that are going to give like a froth of white water that's just going to bubble up and give a really nice sound and also some movement to the water. I've chosen 3 pumps. Now you could go for one big pump and use a load of copper or piping to distribute the heads, but I wanted to use 3 pumps. I've got loads of movement in the water and it means if anything happens to one of them, I can replace it rather than having to decouple everything. So it's a bit of redundancy. Now I'm going to position them in the bottom. I've got the heads there. I've done a bit of tweaking with the valves, but hopefully when I turn it on, they look all right. Let's give it a whirl. Look at that, not bad, eh? Now that all the pumps are working, it's time to turn them off, let the water fill to the top, and then get my scissors out and cut the excess off around the liner. And then to the final step, which is some gorgeous coping to finish it off. Now we've got these water soldiers, which are floating water plants, and I'm going to pop them in the rill now it's all finished, and they will just float along and add a little bit of texture to this beautiful water feature. So in they go. And you will see they will open up into these open spikes. So let's put the next one in over here and you'll see it open up as we plop it in. So when it goes, and then it will right itself eventually, and this will sink down and that will open up. There we go. I'm also going to have some marginal plants around the edge, such as Equisetum japonicum. I'm going to be using a pond container that has loads of drainage ready for these aquatic plants, and also aquatic compost. So I've used this wire here just to tie the pots to these bricks so they don't blow over in the wind. So the water feature is finally finished and we've got some nice weather to show it off. So let's check it out. Have you got gardening questions that you need answers for? Well, why not head over to the Garden Ninja forum on my blog, where you can ask me anything about gardens, plants and garden design. There's a whole army of other garden ninjas there that can help provide answers to your questions. It's a really great way to meet the other ninjas, so head over there now. So there we go. My guide as to how to create a really modern, slick looking water feature. If you've liked this video guide, please make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, where there are hundreds of garden design, hints, tips and hacks to help you make your gardens awesome. Drop me a comment below if you've got any questions or you want to know more. I've been Garden Ninja. Happy gardening.